Hello friends, I'm Akash, and this is your News of the Week for the week of May 9th to May 15th, 2021. I'm Akash Cody, and let's take a look at the first story of the week, which is that fully vaccinated Americans don't have to wear masks in most outdoors and indoor situations anymore, according to the CDC. The CDC is the America's Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and the CDC has now eased the mask restrictions for those who have been fully vaccinated with one of the 3 vaccines, starting on May 13th. Now, the director of the CDC, Dr. Rochelle Walensky, has said that if you are fully vaccinated, then you can do the things that you stopped doing because of the pandemic. So most fully vaccinated people can just return back to the pre-pandemic lives. However, this announcement comes with a few exceptions, like when you're in a crowded area or if you are on most forms of travel. So if you're on an airplane or in a bus, the CDC recommends that you continue to wear your mask and keep 6-foot social distancing, even if you are fully vaccinated with the COVID-19 vaccine. And there's more info about vaccines, specifically that the US FDA, Food and Drug Administration, approved on May 14th the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine for children, which is remarkable. Now, this vaccine is set to work for children aged 12 to 15 after very successful tests, and the FDA has recently approved it. Now, this Emergency Use Authorization, EUA, is very groundbreaking for the COVID-19 vaccines. And the reason why is because until now, all the 3 vaccines here in America that have been approved by the US's Food and Drug Administration, FDA, all of these 3 are registered and approved only for those ages 16 and up. So this vaccine is for the first time for below that range of 16 and up. It's from 12 to 15-year-old kids can now have a COVID-19 vaccine, and this means that if everything goes fine, this authorization will officially mean that schools will be now preparing to go back to normal lives pre-pandemic, and that children can now finally go back to school after they've been vaccinated by the start of the school year. Next, on Wednesday, House Republicans decided to oust Liz Cheney, representative, from the role of chairman of the House Republican Council. Now, this role is number 3 in the House GOP. And now that Representative Liz Cheney is ousted after she said to reject President Donald Trump, former President Trump. And now the role has been taken on by the representative and Trump supporter and Trump's candidate, Elise Stefanik. Next, the situation in India with COVID-19 is stabilizing, actually, with the daily new COVID-19 cases at 300,000 and deaths at 4,000. Now, although the stabilizing is a good thing, we're seeing some improvement, what we really want is for this daily count to start going down. So that way, the virus will finally be done in India. Now, this situation is pretty much stabilizing, which is great, but there is actually a new concern going on, and that new concern is mucormycosis, better known as black fungus. There is actually now that COVID-19 affected patients are now struggling with a rare infection of black fungus, and this just serves to complicate matters even more. However, let's look on the bright side, and medical equipment and other important things are indeed on the rise. And this is great. Things are very much improving with the equipment, such as hospital beds and oxygen tanks and other equipment, medical equipment. It's all being acquired by the government, who is also looking for vaccines from abroad to bring in and finally end this pandemic situation in India. And next, even more of a crisis situation over in Israel and Palestine, which is facing a major war right now, leaving hundreds of deaths caused by the violence. Now, how did all of this situation begin in Israel and Palestine with an entire war? Now, this was actually started on May 6th, where, according to reports, protests in Jerusalem, the capital city, soon escalated into ultimate violent confrontations and clashes between Jewish and Palestinian confrontations. And this situation got even more controversial when, the day after this happened, Israeli police stormed the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is a major Muslim holy site. Now, this understandably irritated the Palestinians, and so specifically the Hamas group of Palestine started firing rockets into Israeli territory, which managed to hit several homes and even a school. And Israel decided to retaliate by firing airstrikes in the Gaza region, which is mostly controlled by Palestine. And so this also managed to hit several apartment buildings. This war is killing hundreds, and I genuinely hope that the two sides will come together, set their differences apart, and finally make peace again. Next, China. So China has, of course, the China National Space Agency, which has been doing some really incredible things recently. So roughly a month ago, China launched its Tianhe core module of the Tiangong-1 space station on the Long March 5B rocket, which is a huge rocket. Now, after they have managed to launch this Tianhe core module into orbit, the China National Space Agency soon lost control of that Long March 5B rocket, and now it is tumbling to Earth, and we had no idea where, because it could literally fall anywhere. The China said that, hey, nothing's going to happen, it's going to burn up in the atmosphere, we'll be fine. However, the European Space Agency said, no, we're assuming that it's probably going to land in this incredibly wide area that pretty much covers all of the major locations on Earth. Now, what actually happened was that on May 9th, these remnants, huge debris from this Long March 5B rocket, actually landed in the Indian Ocean west of the Maldives, and thankfully no one was hurt or injured. And finally, the last news, the last story of this week is China's historic spacecraft landing on Mars. Tianwen-1 is a spacecraft which landed in the Utopia Planitia, which is a vast plain area in the northern hemisphere of Mars. So this is where the Tianwen-1 spacecraft from China's National Space Agency landed on Mars, which is historic because, according to Xinhua, China's national news agency, this leaves a Chinese footprint on Mars for the very first time ever. And it makes China the second country after the United States to land a spacecraft on Mars. Now, this Spacecraft Tianwen-1 actually carried the Zhurong rover, and this rover is set to explore Mars and study its soil and atmosphere. Now, the Tianwen-1 actually is the third spacecraft to reach Mars roughly February of 2021. The other two are NASA's Perseverance of America, which landed in Jezero crater 2,000 kilometers away from where Tianwen-1 landed over in Utopia Planitia. And the UAE's Hope orbiter is just set to orbit around Mars and study it from up there. And that is all the news of the week for the week of May 9th to May 15th, 2021. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with more news of the week. Goodbye.